Welcome to our overview of the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. In this presentation, we'll explore what these global goals mean, why they matter, and how different actors can contribute to a greener, fairer future. The cover image of Earth at night reminds us these goals connect people, economies, and the planet in powerful ways. This slide outlines what we'll cover. An introduction to the SDGs. Social and economic goals. Environmental priorities. Implementation challenges. Measurement and impact. And strategies for integrating SDGs into policy and business. Think of this as your roadmap for the rest of the presentation, guiding us from definitions to practical actions and future outlooks. So what exactly are the SDGs? They're a set of global goals adopted by the United Nations in 2015 to tackle social, economic, and environmental challenges. Their purpose is simple but ambitious: to end poverty, protect our planet, and ensure prosperity for everyone by 2030. We'll touch on origins, definitions, and why they still matter today. Looking ahead, the SDGs shape near-term and long-term priorities. In the next few years, they influence environmental and economic policy, help address pressing issues like climate change and inequality, and aim to secure sustainable benefits for future generations. The timeline here highlights how incremental actions now lead to lasting outcomes down the road. Behind the SDGs are a few key principles that steer action. First, universality. They apply to all countries and aim to integrate social, economic, and environmental goals. Second, the commitment to leave no one behind, ensuring vulnerable groups are included. Third, the three-dimensional focus balancing environmental protection, social inclusion, and economic growth. The SDG framework itself is structured around 17 interconnected goals. They're often grouped into social, economic, and environmental dimensions to aid planning and policy. The important point is that the goals don't stand alone. Progress in one area supports others, so integrated strategies are essential for real, sustainable change. Ending poverty and hunger is foundational to the SDGs, captured in Goals 1 and 2. The aim is to eradicate extreme poverty and eliminate hunger by ensuring social protection and access to nutritious food. Achieving this faces challenges like inequality, conflict, and climate impacts, so policies must be inclusive and resilient to those pressures. Health and education are central to social progress, covering good health and well-being and quality education. These goals focus on reducing disease, improving healthcare access, boosting literacy, and expanding lifelong learning. Progress shows up in longer life expectancy, better learning outcomes, and broader vaccination coverage, which fuel economic and social benefits. Gender equality and reducing inequalities are about rights and participation for everyone. The goals promote equal opportunities, closing income and social gaps within and between countries, and fostering social inclusion. Practical strategies include policies that empower marginalized groups and address systemic barriers to participation and economic opportunity. Sustainable cities and communities focus on making urban areas safe, inclusive, and resilient. This involves managing rapid urbanization, promoting green infrastructure, affordable housing, and smart technologies that reduce emissions while improving quality of life. Case studies and innovative policies highlight how cities can balance growth with environmental and social sustainability. Promoting decent work and inclusive economic growth is about creating jobs that are fair, safe, and productive. These efforts emphasize employment creation, labor rights, and economic resilience by integrating sustainable practices. When economies grow with social protections in place, communities benefit, and long-term stability improves, as the images on this slide suggest. Industry, innovation, and infrastructure drive sustainable development by building resilient networks and fostering technological progress. Investments in sustainable infrastructure support long-term economic and social outcomes, while technology accelerates innovation and job creation. This slide highlights how strategic infrastructure and tech adoption underpin broader SDG achievement. Responsible consumption and production aim to reduce environmental impact by shifting how we use resources. Key actions include minimizing waste through efficient resource use and recycling, and adopting business models that prioritize long-term environmental and economic health. These changes reduce pressure on ecosystems while opening new opportunities for sustainable markets. Economic partnerships are critical to the SDGs, and Goal 17 emphasizes strengthening global cooperation. International collaboration and multi-sector partnerships help mobilize finance, technology, and expertise. By working across governments, the private sector, and civil society, countries can achieve shared goals more effectively than working in isolation. Climate action is urgent and central to the SDGs under Goal 13. It calls for measures to limit warming and adapt to impacts like rising temperatures, extreme weather, and biodiversity loss. Effective responses combine international agreements and national policies that reduce emissions while protecting communities and ecosystems from increasingly severe climate risks. Life Below Water focuses on protecting marine ecosystems, promoting sustainable fisheries, and combating ocean pollution. Healthy oceans are vital for biodiversity, food security, and climate regulation. The empty panels here invite us to think about conservation strategies, responsible fishing practices, and reducing land-based pollution to preserve ocean health for future generations. Life on land covers the protection and sustainable management of terrestrial ecosystems and forests. This goal aims to conserve biodiversity, prevent desertification, and promote responsible land use to maintain ecological balance. Examples on this slide show how habitat protection and sustainable practices support both nature and the communities that depend on it. Clean water and sanitation under Goal 6 seeks universal access to safe drinking water and sanitation. Ensuring affordable, reliable water services reduces waterborne diseases and boosts health and productivity. Long-term water management strategies are needed to preserve supply and resilience, especially as pressures from population and climate change increase. Financial and resource constraints are a recurring challenge for SDG delivery. Significant funding gaps exist, so collaboration between public and private sectors is essential to mobilize resources. Innovative financing mechanisms, like green bonds and impact investing, are emerging as tools to bridge gaps and scale sustainable projects effectively. Inclusiveness and stakeholder engagement are about bringing communities, civil society, and the private sector into planning and implementation. Actively involving vulnerable groups ensures programs meet real needs, while coordinated roles for civil society and businesses drive collaborative solutions. Clear communication and education boost public awareness and foster lasting participation. Progress reporting helps track where we are and where we need to go, with country examples and regional roles showing varied pathways. The circular graphic points toward long-term targets and the need for transparent reporting systems that highlight successes, gaps, and lessons learned as we move toward mid-century goals like 2050. Impact measurement connects SDG efforts to tangible outcomes, from corporate sustainability reports linking business practices to goals, to measuring social return on investment and community transformations. Tracking these impacts helps organizations demonstrate value, refine strategies, and ensure that local communities are genuinely empowered by development efforts. Emerging trends show how sustainability is evolving, with new technologies and creative solutions transforming practices. The circular economy is gaining traction through reuse and recycling, while shifting policies and public awareness are changing incentives. These trends together suggest a future where innovation, behavior change, and regulation reinforce each other. Youth and education are powerful drivers of change. Empowering young advocates motivates grassroots action, while integrating SDGs into curricula builds future skills and awareness. Global youth movements have already demonstrated capacity to influence policy and social norms, making education and youth engagement essential levers for scaled, long-term progress. There are real risks and opportunities ahead. Failure to comply with SDG targets risks environmental and social setbacks, while green technologies create new markets and sustainable growth potential. The key is balancing economic progress with environmental boundaries to ensure that short-term gains don't undermine long-term well-being. Our vision for 2030 and beyond highlights key milestones like poverty reduction, universal education, and clean energy access, while recognizing expected challenges such as climate impacts and resource scarcity. Achieving this vision requires adaptive strategies and global collective action, with countries and communities working together towards shared objectives. Aligning SDGs with national policies means embedding priorities into development plans through clear integration steps. Policy coherence across sectors prevents conflicting objectives, and a collaborative approach fosters cross-sector partnerships. Example frameworks like voluntary national reviews and national SDG roadmaps help translate global goals into practical national strategies. Corporate SDG strategies involve 3 practical steps. Integrate SDGs into core business models to drive sustainable growth. Align ESG reporting with SDG targets for transparent tracking, and engage stakeholders in focused initiatives. These measures help companies contribute to global goals while managing risk and creating long-term value. Community-level approaches bring SDGs to life through grassroots initiatives that address local targets directly. Mobilizing local resources and knowledge enhances relevance and ownership, while systems for monitoring and feedback ensure projects evolve and improve. Strong local engagement makes national goals tangible and helps scale successful practices from the ground up. Monitoring and continuous improvement are essential to reach SDG targets. That starts with setting SMART goals, conducting regular monitoring and evaluation to track progress, and adopting adaptive management so strategies evolve based on evidence. Continuous learning and adjustment make it possible to respond effectively to changing conditions and improve outcomes over time.